It's a show that's thanking Danny Parkins for doing his second show of the day.
No problem.
You were on from 10 to 12.
Workhorse.
And this is overtime.
Man.
Double overtime.
Double overtime. First show Nick and I ever hosted together in college called the Double Overtime.
Oh, that's true. At WAER.
That's right.
It's called double overtime?
Yeah, because overtime was after the basketball, football, and lacrosse games. Overtime was like the immediate, like, post-game reaction, and the double overtime was the call-in show. And that's what we hosted.
You guys did that about lacrosse?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did.
We were not qualified.
We had to do post-game call-in shows for lacrosse games that sometimes were road games that were only on the radio. So we had to listen to students call a lacrosse game and then field calls on it and do analysis.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
What was Johnson doing in
Syracuse's midfield attack.
Yeah, for real.
Move the ball, Pat Parrott.
Yeah, that's exactly
Do
right.
the air gate.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I absolutely adore that.
Yeah.
We talk with such conviction.
humble beginning?
We're headed to the NBA. We went from, are the Thunder one of the best teams ever, to, are the Thunder even better than the Spurs? San Antonio has beaten the Thunder 3 times in 12 days and have won 10 of their last 11. So don't you dare, because someone said that in the NFL, and you were like, thank you for the intel. Bills Chiefs or something.
That's right. Yeah, Bills.
Oh,
Chiefs,
yeah,
that is
that's
correct.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What do you mean,
It was-
don't I dare? I didn't even
You
do
just
anything.
become
You
the
scoffed.
anti-Wemby guy.
I'm not
You're
anti-
And he
You're
said,
a
I'm
big
keeping the
scoffer.
tactical
Oh, my God.
advantages to myself, like you like.
No, yes, you know what I like even more?
What?
Not going a step further, where you don't even reveal, oh yeah, we have solved some things, but I just if that's the case, you don't even say it. That's
He
all.
did. He was like, ooh.
But it's fine. No, listen, I understand
Nick,
this.
Wemby's greatness or future greatness does not take away from LeBron.
It has nothing to do. I am
doesn't.
so
Right
I said he could be the GOAT. Ain't that take away from
I'm
Michael
not
Jordan's
worried.
greatness?
I just want him to play 35 minutes a game for 60 games before he starts, gracing us with his NBA wisdom. That's all. That's all. But listen,
He's a
it's not even the
prodigy.
topic.
Prodigies are
He is a
that's right.
prodigy. That is true.
Danny, what was your number one takeaway from this game?
Well, so like you guys, we can't just hand the Thunder the title, right?
Yes,
I think that is like an
thankfully.
obvious macro NBA. Okay, we can watch the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like just as a sport, like, June is not ruined. Like I think that is like the first thing that is fairly obvious. And then the quote there, we have to be open to the possibility that Wemby knows what he's talking about.
Love it.
Like he talks a big game, and I know you hate this, but when he said that they play this like beautiful, pure brand of basketball, and he says that they have this tactical knowledge that they've gained, solving the Thunder is overstating it. But I will say the Thunder's brilliance, and why I disagreed with a little bit what you said earlier about like they aren't more talented, they are one of the best defensive teams I've ever seen. In terms of their top 8 guys are all plus defensive players, right? Like they're all two-way players. And that's just a really impressive thing in the modern NBA that's so offensive dominant. And so they, last year, were the best defense by far. This year, so far, are the best defense by far. Teams are shooting 43% against the Thunder, by far the best in the NBA. When the Spurs beat them to win the NBA Cup, they shot 41% in like a
The Spurs.
The Spurs did in like a grinded out game. But that was their first data point
It's
to
the only way
figuring
they
it out.
close, right.
The second game they
Yeah.
played 2 days ago, they shot 57% from the floor and hung 130 on them.
Blueprint.
Yesterday, 117 from the floor, 54%. No other team this year shot 49% against the Thunder. So the Spurs, by far, twice now in back-to-back games, have had the most efficient offensive production against the best defensive team in the NBA, largely without the prodigy dominating. He's
Right.
played 70 minutes in 3 games. So I do think we have to be open to the possibility that the only organization that's really in the conversation for as stable and as well run as the Thunder is the Spurs, that they are smart enough basketball-wise to have solved this chess match.
Well, and I think and you get mad about this with Wemby when he says we play the right way.
Yeah.
They do, though. And I actually want them to go play a little more through Wemby because I want him to put up huge numbers. Now, he's only playing 20 minutes a night right now, so he's putting up huge numbers in 20 minutes. But 5-man basketball is unique in today's NBA. Most teams, 1 or 2 great players creates everything for everybody else. And the Spurs don't play that way. If Keldon Johnson gets it and he sees a lane, he can go to the hole, and he actually did that in this game. And so I think that is part of it, is that everybody has the green light and they got a bunch of blue chippers. You don't think they're more talented than OKC?
I just think two ways the number of players that are great defensively on Oklahoma
But
City.
they have outside of Shea, they got nobody like Castle, Harper, and De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Those are three.
He means they don't have any
talented.
Brew is talking about basically pedigree, like blue chip.
And not even but doing basketball. But look, Jalen Williams is a great player, but I don't want to get hung up on that. But the thought that they're going to get better.
Yeah.
Because Wemby's only playing 20 minutes a night. Once he's back to 35 minutes a night, they've been great without him, 9-3. This is what he is to the Spurs. Lest some people think, you know what, they don't even really need Wemby. His plus minus is plus 180. That's first on. All these are first on the team. The defense rating, the net rating of plus 15. Points per game, even though his numbers are coming down because he's only playing 20 minutes a night right now. But when he gets back, going to be.
If he's able to get back to playing 35 plus minutes and stay healthy, then we saw game 1 of the season, what him at his best can be. We already know he is, on a per minute or per game basis, the best defensive player in the league. And game 1 of the season, we saw offensively what he is already scratching the surface of. And even in this series, but in this 3-game set they've played, he has been on the court for less than half the minutes, but it's where they've won. And so, if we show you his on-off, or he's been on the court for almost exactly half, they've won his minutes by 47 points. But I also think that column on the right, the fact that in 74 minutes without their best player, the Spurs are almost playing the Thunder even, is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the fact that one of the reasons I believe the Thunder are such a great defensive team is because they just wear you out. I think yes, they're great defenders, but they're also so young and so athletic on both ends of the court that over the course of the game, you just don't have as many legs for your jump shot. You're just, you're not, and the Spurs can match that youth and athleticism in a way not many teams can. We don't really have time to get into it here, but I did save one thing that I just know you will love that I wanted to bring up here.
Great.
So there is a top 15, at least top 20 all-time player who we think
I was going to say
could be traded.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
All right, well then go ahead, say
No,
it.
I was wondering, do these 3 wins make you think, Giannis, Schmanis?
No, that's not. I'm taking this up further.
Yes, though.
Yeah.
Really?
Hold on.
My only with Giannis is just the injuries.
That's great. That's not where I was going.
Oh, where are you going now?
You know who has a lot of draft picks? Who also could trade for Giannis?
The Thunder?
Yeah.
Oh, buckle up! I didn't see that one coming. We need the Thunder.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Or we need Giannis.
Yeah.
We're the Thunder.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
They play
Holmgren for
OKC at
January
least,
12th.
Yeah.
They play
No,
in January.
Giannis
They play
cannot
soon.
go.
If the
the-
Spurs walk through them again,
That's.
that becomes really interesting.
Oh my goodness!
I knew that one.
Giannis has
You
to
are-
reject it.
What do you mean?
Why?
He can't go to the Chiefs.
Kevin
already a
Durant
champ.
went to the Warriors.
How
Durant
Giannis
was
has
already
marred
his
his legacy.
Yeah, no, but Giannis could be like,
And they didn't
I
win.
can't decide where I'm going. I just got traded, first of all. And Giannis has a ring.
That's interesting.
I'm just saying,
Right,
everyone has
that's real.
thought about the Spurs trading for Giannis to get over the hump or whatever it is.
Sam
I just
Presti
wonder, Sam
cashes in on the
Presti,
chips.
because the other thing is,
That's
they have
unbelievable.
too many, at some point, they have this Clippers pick. But you only have so many minutes to play. And you are so deep.
Wow.
I'm just throwing again.
I didn't even think about that. I thought it was just maybe we don't need Giannis.
Listen, I want Giannis in Milwaukee. He's one of my favorite basketball players.
You want him to stay in Milwaukee?
Yeah, it's a personal.
And be in the play-in for the rest of his career?
Be Kobe, be Duncan, be Dirk.
Kobe won 5 rings. What are you talking about?
I understand. Just
Dirk.
A guy who played
He's above Dirk, as great as Dirk is.
A guy who played in one place for forever. It's pure.
I'm an old school guy, and that's overrated. We've moved on.
I told you would
that
love
was
that.
excellent.
I told you.
I loved that.
But the Spurs
so
was
excited.
interesting, too. It's an interesting conversation. We got to do that one day.
Bears and San, we just did it. Bears and San Sunday night, Brock fresh off of 5 touchdowns. Caleb fresh off of a game-ending touchdown and an ice-cold celebration. Segment within a segment, Danny's guarantees. Danny, this was a disaster the first time we did it, but then it's gotten slowly better as Caleb has delivered on your wins. Are you willing to offer up another Caleb guarantee for this game?
Yeah, I don't think this one's that hard. Sure. Caleb outplays Purdy. Not a problem. This game is going to be very high scoring. I think it's a race to 30 points. The Bears' defense, though, is opportunistic. They lead in takeaways. They get takeaways virtually every game. And the Niners' defense, their scoring defensive rank is okay.
He's the 11th, right?
I think it's 12th now after the games.
That's what it matters.
Yeah.
Points.
They have the fewest sacks of any team in football. They have only 6 interceptions this year, second fewest in football to the Jets, who have 0. 29th in completion percentage against, 26th in passer rating against, and they've played nobody. The one team they played in this recent stretch, where they're playing well, the only team with a good offense that they played was the Rams, who scored 42 on them. Their impressive wins are early, before all the injuries set in.
Does that not count?
Well, he's just.
I'm saying for their defense, for what defense they're putting on the field Sunday night, they have not played good offenses since they've been ravaged by injuries defensively. Caleb will put up a big game on Sunday night, guaranteed.
Here's the problem. Where's that game at?
The game's in San Francisco.
Your boy's not the same on the road. I'm just facts over feelings. I like Caleb.
A completion percentage at 57.
81, 57%, 81
really
passer rating on the road, 5 picks. And he does not. One thing I love about Caleb, he doesn't throw picks, but he's got 5 on the road. How many road games have they played? 7, 8? So he is 16 sacks. He's not the same player on the road. And so, look, and he's also not consistently good. Like, he's great at the end. And I think if they win, I'm picking the Niners, but the Bears could beat them. If the Bears win, it'll be because he has a late surge at the end like he tends to do. But I think Purdy will be better throughout.
So I actually disagree with that part. I think if the Bears win, it'll be because they run all over the Niners throughout the game. Like, I don't think it'll be like a
Philly game.
late.
Close game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not quite as dominant as that, but I also think you've been bullied by National Treasure.
What did I do?
Miles. Because you are correct. The first time we did one of these guarantee questions, we only did it because we assumed Danny was going to say yes. He said no, and it was a disaster.
I thought it worked fine.
Now Wilds is just every Friday picking a different thing to make you
But
guarantee.
this is not that ridiculous. I'll play Brock Purdy, Mr.
I
Relevant.
think
How many touchdowns Purdy have last week?
5.
Okay.
It's
a big deal. It's interesting because it's Mr. Relevant.
Because tell me if I'm wrong. I'm guessing you are more confident that the Bears win than you are in the Caleb versus Purdy just head-to-head stat test.
But in the me versus Brew Shador Caleb bet, we established
You
that,
wouldn't even guarantee that.
No, well, I don't remember.
Because you were like, I think they'll win.
But we established that it makes it much tougher for the losing quarterback to dramatically outplay the winning quarterback. So, yeah, I think Caleb is going to win the game. And maybe Purdy will have a counting stat or two in his favor. But Caleb's going to win.
I think
Caleb's going to win and play great. I can't be any clearer than that.
You are making it clear. I think the biggest flaw in your read on it is I think you are overrating the Bears defense. And I think Shanahan, one thing Purdy has shown, he can put up crazy numbers. You know what I mean? If it's rolling, especially against overmatched defense, a vulnerable defense. And now he'll throw some up for grabs, and the Bears have been opportunistic. But That's a hard way to make a living, just forcing turnovers. I know they've been doing it all year. Like, I just think Shanahan at home against that defense that, to your point, raced to 30, I think Purdy could have a huge game. Oof. Could have a huge game.
And I want to see the Bears in a shootout. Like, that's a fun test. Like, they were dominant wire to wire against Philly, but 24-15. They had a very good complete game against Cleveland, but it was not competitive. Like, I'm here for 35-31.
Well, and this is also a potential playoff preview. Like, if both these teams are alive for the 1 seed, then certainly this game could be the conference championship game.
How good
Nobody thinks it's going to be, because I think most people don't actually think the Niners or the Bears are the best team in the NFC, but both of them are alive to be the number 1 seed in the conference. They're playing in Week 17, so it could be a game we see.
Both 1 seeds, I don't really view as the 1 seed, except that they're the 1 seeds.
What do you mean?
If it's the 49ers get the 1 seed, or the Seahawks get it, or the Jags get it, or the Broncos get it, I'm like, meh.
That's why everyone feels like it's wide open. The only legit 1 seeds are the Patriots?
Yeah,
Yeah, really only Patriots
He
and
thinks
Rams.
Patriots-Rams. He thinks those
Hey,
are
Super Bowl matchup, part 3.
All right, it's time now for a red-hot Parkins picks.
3-0.
I am seeing the NFL very clearly. This is the official pick segment. I plug into the matrix. I see the league clearly. I'm not going to let 3-0 change me.
I'm not scared of picking big games, taking the points with Detroit.
Play in the wood with the Chicago Bears.
Easy, easier, and easiest.
I know that I'm right.
Okay, Parkins picks a fresh 3-0.
You know how they say it's impossible to choose your favorite kid? It's not impossible for me to choose my favorite cover from last week. It was the Bears over the Packers. That was a very enjoyable cover. Pulled that one out of nowhere. 3-0 last week, Nick. 27-21.
pretty lucky 3-0.
I mean,
The Bears
Chargers
pick
were
is
dominant.
a little lucky.
Chargers and Saints were dominant.
And the Bears pick is a little lucky.
Okay, and a couple weeks ago, I had a very unlucky 1-2 when I
That's
lost
right.
both games
I
by a
remember
half point. Everyone remembers that. It's well documented. That's why it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I've been winning the marathon wire to wire. Let's go to week 17. And we go back to the well with the Bears +3. Am I afraid of picking a game that we were just talking about? No, I heard that earlier in the show. I'm like, that's not a good reason. I'm playing to win. And here's the thing.
Sorry, Wild.
Going
Go.
it is slow. It's a
Just
television
catching
show.
strays out
But
here.
going a little deeper on this Niners defense, when they play top 20 offenses, that's what they allow. Quarterbacks have a passer rating of 108 against them. They have 6 sacks total against offenses ranked in the top 2/3. Look at that bottom line of the graphic there. They are 8-0, allowing 16.5 points per game against bottom third offenses in the league. They're bum slayers. They've been feasting on the worst offenses. They're a terrible defense. Bears +3. That's easy. Now here is where we've run into a little bit of bad luck. I will admit it. But I will lay the points with the Packers. Unfortunately, I am locked into laying 4.5. It's the one downside of doing 2 television shows in a day, one at 10 in the morning and one at 5 in the afternoon. News changes. And since I laid the 4.5, Jordan Love has been ruled out. Malik Willis is the starter, so I'm now laying a big number with a backup quarterback.
Was it at 2? What was
It was 3.
It was 3.5. Now it's 4. So worst case
Well,
scenario
it might
for
be
me.
backup against backup.
It could be backup against backup, and the truth is, the Ravens have just been bad since Thanksgiving. They've just been bad offensively across the board, not an impressive unit, and I gotta wonder what it does to the vibes in Baltimore if in a must-win, gotta have it for your season on the line national television game, your quarterback doesn't play with a bad back. Like, what does that say to the rest of the 52 guys on the team? So I'll lay it with Malik Willis, who always wins whenever he plays for the Green Bay Packers. Last but not least, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills laying 1.5 against the Eagles. Eagles, 88% locked in to the 3 seed. They've locked up their division. All of their starter sit guys, they're probably going to be sitting at this point. We got the Lane Johnson news earlier today. But most importantly, this game is in Buffalo. It's probably going to be in the snow. And Josh Allen at home this year, well, he's just the best player in football by a mile. So too many questions with Eagles' health and with the performance of the Eagles' offense. No questions that Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills will move the ball. So lay 1.5 with the Bills against the Eagles. Nick, I'm sorry to say, looks like another 3-0
No, 1-2, 2-1 at best. I really think that Packers thing is going to screw you, and you're going to be very bad.
Packers by 4,
Packers
you and I
winning
won't
by
speak
4.
for a while.
You're going to be very upset.
It's gonna be upsetting.
KW,
Couldn't believe it.
you couldn't believe
How
it.
good the Bills are at home. My goodness. Wow. #1 in everything, and you said they
That
don't
was
lose.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Oh, yeah.
I can't believe it. That team's
I'm
unstoppable.
with you, Wiles. I'm with
What
you.
was that, Dust? Oh, the Patriots. The Patriots were the one loss they had at home in the last 17 games. Holy cow. Easy schedule, though.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, of course.
Because you said the Eagles are going to win because the Bills are, quote, not good.
I said that accidentally.
You said it
They are
repeatedly.
actually very good, but they certainly can get gashed on the ground.
You said they're not good multiple times. If the Bills beat your Eagles, are you going to finally, with a week left in the season, come around to the idea that maybe, just maybe, the Bills are
The
excellent?
Bills are very good.
You're
Don't get me wrong,
You
the
just
Bills are
said
very
they
good.
stink earlier.
Up and down, roller coaster.
It's confusing.
It's definitely confusing, just like the Buffalo Bills. Are they good? Wow, they seem unstoppable. Hold on, weren't they just down 21-0? They're horrible in the first half, amazing in the second half. You think my point doesn't make sense. It's actually the perfect encapsulation of what the Buffalo Bills are.
Welcome back. It's a very special Friday edition of Frenemies. What a good friend. Nick staying around a little bit longer to hang out on a Friday. We begin with the Lions. 6 turnovers. Not going to get the job done, but more than the game, the season is over. The Lions officially eliminated from the playoffs. So, Nick, does missing the playoffs close the window on the Lions' title chances completely?
I don't know how open that window ever was. I mean, it certainly closes it for this year. We can agree.
You and I check your math. I get the same. Yeah.
And I know that they have been your margin of victory champs for so many years now.
I've picked them to come out of the NFC 3 years in a row.
Right.
0 for 3.
And I understand that Dan Campbell did change the culture there. There is no denying that. Yeah. There's also no denying that this year is going to be like 29 of the previous 30, which is a Lions season with 0 playoff victories, which includes all of Dan Campbell's seasons except one. They lost as a 1 seed last year that everyone has just retconned themselves into believing was purely because of the defensive injuries rather than partially defensive injuries and partially because Jared Goff had a playoff game last year against Washington, very similar to the game he played last night. And I don't think the Lions have at any point been an A1 team in the league. Now, I think obviously you don't have to be an A1 team to win a Super Bowl. And so in that regard, it's been open. But I haven't the Lions and the Ravens are the 2 teams that in, this mini era of the last 3-4 years, that it seems like the rest of the media has consistently been a grade higher on than I have been. And so I'm surprised they missed the playoffs, but I think I picked them to finish 3rd in that division and make the playoffs. I think I did. I could be wrong. But I didn't look at them the way you and so many others did, and I don't think they are all of a sudden going to be way better next year.
So, listen, the playoff loss last year to Washington, they scored 31 and got blown out. Yes, Goff had multiple turnovers in the game, but you scored 31. It's at least partially due to all the defensive injuries,
sure.
right? They allowed 45 points. You also know that tie for me goes to the offense, and 3 years ago, they were 5th in the NFL in points per game. Last year, they were 1st in points per game. This year, they're 4th in points per game. Without my guy, Ben Johnson, they're still 4th in the NFL in scoring. So they are an elite offense. And losing Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson mattered. They got so desperate with the offensive line this year that they asked Frank Ragnow to come out of retirement. Yeah. And then he had a grade 3 hamstring. We were like, maybe a little desperate, like he wasn't able to play. But the reason that I do have faith that they're going to be fine going forward is Brad Holmes, their general manager, seems to be one of the best drafters of talent in the league. Like, this is their core. Jared Goff's 31. This is their guys who are 26 or younger who I would say are excellent.
Yeah.
Top 5 running back, top 5 pass rusher, top 5 tackle, top 5 receiver, a couple of Pro Bowl safeties, and Jameson Williams. Like, honest question. Do 25 teams in the NFL, would they trade their young core for that young core? Like, if you remove quarterback from the equation?
No,
like,
but
it's one of the best young cores in football.
I agree with the young core thing, but I just, and this is where the Ravens and Lions, I guess, have similarities to me, is in this regard. It's for different reasons. But when you say Ty goes to the offense, and when we're in an era of maybe more superhuman playing quarterback than ever before, it is so hard for me to believe that a Jared Goff-led team that leads with offense is going to be a Super Bowl favorite when I think he is, compared to the other elite quarterbacks in this league, obviously limited in certain ways. The Ravens are in a different bucket, which is their quarterback ceases to be a superhuman once the playoffs begin. So I think I look around the NFC moving forward. And it's like, okay, Stafford, I don't know how much longer he has, but he's better than Jared Goff. Caleb, I think, is going to be better than Jared Goff. The Eagles have a better roster than the Lions. As good as that Lions roster is, the Eagles are the one team maybe that can say we have a better roster. And so I just don't, I'm not as high on Jordan Love as others, but some people think he has this super high ceiling. To me, they were better than any team in the league over the last few years at annihilating teams not in their weight class. And that, in my opinion, made people overvalue them slightly.
Let's talk about one of those teams that you just mentioned there in passing, the Baltimore Ravens. They know they're playing a backup quarterback. Jordan Love's been ruled out. But Lamar Jackson, with what's listed as a back contusion, listed as doubtful, most likely will not play. And if they lose this game to the Packers, they're eliminated. What would it mean if Lamar misses the game?
I think it would mean that the Lamar Harbaugh Ravens relationship is over. Somebody's gone. And I have been more than hinting at this all year, and it hasn't been blind speculation. There's been a lot of evidence that the one quarterback in the league whose head coach seemingly has no idea what his day-to-day health status is Lamar Jackson with John Harbaugh. And this was John Harbaugh on Monday, after the Sunday night game where we saw Lamar get kneed in the back. Like that, this is so weird. And then when you add to it the article that came out that we talked about a couple days ago, it just seems like this relationship and I don't know who's to blame here, but it has run its course. And I don't think it's tenable to be the head coach of an NFL team and not have a real confidence level of, is your starting quarterback going to practice any given week? And is your starting quarterback are you and he going to be able to have an open communication about his level of injury and whether or not he should be available to play in your upcoming game?
Yeah, listen, I'm with you, man. I think it's odd. It puts guys who look like you and me in a weird spot when we're like, what's going on with this guy's injury? Because we are not tough and they are, obviously.
I mean, I did the show the day after I got my arm snapped in half.
I'm
not a pro athlete.
You're not.
But go ahead.
You're not tough. We can tell the full story at some point. I'm shocked he's not playing.
Yeah.
If you lose the game, you are eliminated. It is the definition of win or go home. There is no tomorrow, all of that stuff. And your team is listing it as a bruise. They have all sorts of ways to make bruises not hurt for temporary amounts of time. I did the show earlier today, as was mentioned. Willie Colon was like, he owes it to his team to be out there and give it a go. And if he can't finish, that's one thing, but he owes it to his team to start. I'm floored by this, and I do wonder what the ramifications are, for Lamar and Harbaugh, but also just for the rest of the guys in the locker room being like, wait, what? You're not playing in this game?
And the other piece of that article from the Baltimore Sun from Mike Preston I thought was noteworthy was him talking about the Ravens and Lamar are negotiating again. And the last time the Ravens and Lamar were negotiating, Lamar missed the end of the season with an injury that every week John Harbaugh thought he'd be back from.
Oh, right, yeah.
And earlier this year, John Harbaugh was asked, what's going to be different with your team after the bye? And he said, we'll have our quarterback back. And they didn't. This is not sustainable, flatly. And I do think there are certain athletes that it's not a toughness question. It's a comfortability playing if you don't feel like you can be at your best. That's not a pain threat. That's a different thing. And Brew talks with this. That's who Kawhi has always been. as a for instance. It's not that Kawhi's not tough. It's that Kawhi, the Spurs would tell you if he didn't feel right, he just wasn't going to play. I don't think that really works as an NFL quarterback. And Lamar, what is the toughest piece of this is Lamar has been incredibly durable except for the years he wasn't. I know that sounds ridiculous, but he doesn't. You don't look at his Pro Football Reference page like, oh, he missed Week 7 this year and Week 10 this year. It's the end of 2021 he missed, the end of 2022, and then this year. And all 3 of those years, he was in a contract negotiation. And that, to me, feels odd. And the fact that Harbaugh or Monken or anyone have made it clear at various points this season that, yeah, I mean, you've got to listen to the player. What they're not saying is, we're not letting him play. Or, you know what I mean? That he's dying to get out there, but we're not going to clear him. All of that is weird, and the fact that the Ravens' season's on the line and he might not play is even weirder.
Tyler Huntley against Malik Willis with the season and seeding on the line, just like they drew it up.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.